Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to first start off before I get into this video. I did make a community tab post in regards to what I've kind of been going through. I wanted to make this video a couple of days ago, but unfortunately I had to put my dog down and it was very, very hard. And so right now I'm really just grieving and I'm going through a lot of emotions. If this video seems kind of somber or a little sad, it's because of that. And I don't mean to make everyone else feel sad. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break in terms of being online and just kind of nothing longer than what I usually take, but I wanted to get this video out before I went on that break. So just kind of bear with me a little bit here because whenever I post this video, I'll probably schedule it to post it sometime. And if I'm not reading the comments or not liking them or replying, that's just why, because I'm just not going to be online. So I wanted y'all to know that. Overall, I really just wanted to give you guys an update on my last video, which was about burnout. And I got a lot of positive comments, a lot of people who understood what I was saying and what I was going through. I even had people, who were Catholic and were like, hey, I go through the same thing, and had just a mixture. I also had a lot of people reach out to me via email or even through the comments who were just very encouraging and very supportive. I want to kind of reiterate that burnout is something that happens in all areas of our lives, whether it is our faith, our jobs, school, family, whatever it may be. And so the purpose of that video was to destigmatize this topic and not make it feel so heavy, because we all go through it at some point in our lives, right? Where we're burnt out and everything can feel heavy. But if we share how we're feeling, we can make somebody else feel less alone in that. And I also would like to say that burnout is a very nuanced topic. It can happen for multiple reasons. It is not synonymous with orthodoxy. I've felt burnout when I was Protestant, not something that automatically points to, oh, the religion is bad, or oh, the religion is false. Another factor is mental health. And I deal with mental health, anxiety, and depression, and I might talk about that in another video, but burnout doesn't necessarily come from one factor, or that it's just synonymous with orthodoxy, because it's not. I put a lot of pressure on myself. The Orthodox faith does not advocate and say that burnout is good. And in fact, there's lots of ways that we are meant to combat burnout within our lives. And all throughout catechism classes, we were always told, don't overdo it. Me being me and me having the kind of personality that I have, which is kind of like an all or nothing, I could kind of foresee that I could overdo it. And that's kind of what happened. Whenever I experience burnout, I kind of step back and I analyze and I think, okay, what is causing this? And so that's kind of what I did with doing, just kind of overdoing it. And so I wanted to share with you all some of the things that I've been doing in order to kind of ease that burnout and feel like I can breathe again, essentially. After I made that video, I got invited to go to a monastery with a group of women. I believe that the Lord knows when we need rest. It's just such perfect timing that I got invited shortly after that video. And so I took it as a sign and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the monastery. And it was just for their feast day and their divine liturgy. And it was absolutely beautiful. I had not experienced something like that before. I had gone to another monastery, but this one was very different. and they really held on to the traditional Greek monastery. I don't know how to say it, just like everything was done in Greek, obviously. So like the entire service was Greek. I'd never experienced that before. And I mean, there was so many people there, and the line was literally out the door for communion. It was something I've never seen that before, where I was outside in line for communion. It was beautiful to see it. There were so many people, like men, women, children, like so many families, and it was a really big event. I'm so glad I didn't miss out on. And it was really like this breath of fresh air for my soul. That's the only way that I can really describe it. You see so many people that are a part of this faith and coming and dedicating their time, their day, because it was a lot of us came from out of town. It was kind of far from us, so it was a very, lengthy trip. Make that sacrifice to go and to experience God is such a telling thing about this faith, how people really do sacrifice for this faith. And I had this moment where, I've watched a lot of different documentaries on Orthodox faith, and they will sometimes mention orthodoxy in America and like what does that look like, and how you can see it, you can feel it. And they've mentioned it, and of course I've heard of it, but I've never experienced it until I went to that monastery. I experienced what is orthodoxy in America. What does that look like? What does that mean? And I'm going to mention something towards the end a little bit about something that I'm collaborating with, and it'll be a huge blessing. But that was the first time that I really felt like, wow, orthodoxy is in America, and I know it sounds silly because I am Orthodox. Hearing it and then experiencing it they're two completely different things, right? During this time where I was experiencing this burnout, I saw how the Lord provides for us. The week that I made that video, or I think it was maybe the week after it, had the week off, and it was like, it wasn't planned, of course, but it was like the Lord had planned some time for me to rest that following week. And then this past, couple of days with what's happened, I have a vacation coming up, and it's like planned rest that it wasn't that these two incidences, I guess you could say, just so happened to be so close to a period of rest. And it felt like, wow, the Lord is really taking care of me. Like, I don't even know it or acknowledge it sometimes, but I'm very grateful that the Lord has planned respite for me, allows me to take time to breathe, and orchestrated everything just so beautifully. That day was absolutely amazing, not just going to the monastery, but the entire day, just being able to have time with the other women that I went with, who they were in my catechism class, and so it was a little bit of a road trip, so we were able to just talk to each other about all types of things, not just the faith, but get to know each other more. And it was something that was very necessary and very needed. And it goes back to how the Lord knows exactly what we need, because there's a difference between what we're wanting in the moment and then what we're needing. And the Lord always provides in those moments. What have I been doing in terms on my part to kind of combat this burnout? I've been continuing to pray, more so personal prayers, but I've been getting back into my prayer routine, which I use this prayer book. I'll post it down below, all the links. I opened up an Amazon storefront just to post all of the books that I mention, because it's just easier to have it all in one place. I do want to say, though, if you have the chance to buy this book at a monastery or your parish, please buy it through them. They need the money more. I want to be like as transparent as possible, because of course Amazon storefronts, you do get a bit of commission, but like I said, order it through a parish if you can. And then at night, what I've been doing is reading the Psalter. And this is the large print Psalter, so you can get it in a regular print. So comforting. Last night I read it, and it was just, there's something so comforting about reading the Psalter out loud and really letting the words kind of wash over you. It brings me a lot of peace and a lot of comfort, especially during this time in my life. Another book that I don't have because it's on my Kindle is The Lives of the Saints. And that's really where I want to kind of pivot a little bit and talk about that. I think that's something that has really helped me during the transition and during this period of burnout has been reading about the lives of the saints. The lives of the saints, they are regular people just like you and me. And they didn't necessarily have any different tools that we don't have. They're just regular people who were dedicated to God. And so it not only it kind of humbles you in a way, because you kind of think, wow, I'm thinking or overthinking about certain things, but these people have gone through so much more than I've ever been through. And yet they're still dedicated to God. It makes me pause and think, these are people who gone through hardship, who fight for the faith, and most importantly, they never set out to become saints. I don't know why, but it kind of just alleviated a lot of my burnout because I got to focus on something else, which was reading about these amazing saints, just how they were obedient in small things. You know, it wasn't always this extraordinary, crazy, elaborate story. They were regular people, but they just so happened to be dedicated to God and stay obedient through every step of their life. And sometimes, of course, like, everyone sins. And that was another thing that I find very fascinating, is because the saints sinned as well, just like us, but there was this difference of always going back to God and not really staying in your sin. There's kind of one piece of advice if you are going through a burnout, I would say turn to the saints. Of course, be in prayer. Of course, pray to your guardian angel and pray and ask for the intercession of saints, but also read about them. It can really change you and your perspective to read about their lives, and you never know. There might be a saint trying to reach out to you that maybe you've never even heard of, and you're thinking, wow, I really relate to that saint, and that's what gets you through this stage of burnout. Last thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is a really awesome opportunity and blessing that I have to collaborate with someone you might have already heard of. The channel is America Goes Orthodox, and he does all these interviews of these individuals, basically sharing their faith and their testimony of coming to Eastern Orthodoxy. With talking about saints, we decided to do a series on female saints, where we would highlight their lives and their teachings and just who they were, and putting together a video where we can get their lives and their stories out there to people who, like I said, you might not even have heard of some of these saints. And so I'm so excited to be sharing these stories with you all. I hope that you will go to their channel. I'll link it down below. Sure that you are signed up for notifications. I'll do my best to post on my community in order for you guys to know when those videos come out. But once again, I'm very, very thankful and very blessed. I pray that the Lord really uses me as a tool in order to share these beautiful stories, and that you are touched by them. I'm so excited. I'm so blessed to be working with this and to be working on it. Close out this video, and I will be praying for you all, and I hope that you all can pray for me in the time that I'm going through right now. I will see you guys in the next video.